Hey everybody, it's GauntletX and welcome back to another War of the Spark Premier Draft. Here we have a pretty interesting rare. Role Reversal can be quite a fun card in this format. Exchange control of two permanents that share a permanent type. If you have one of the uncommon planeswalkers out that only has a minus ability, once that planeswalker gets down to like one loyalty and it's not really doing anything for you anymore, it's pretty nice to trade this for your opponent's rarer, better planeswalker, or the one they just cast. Also, you do have creature tokens in this format with amass cards in this color scheme. You can be getting a lot of 1/1 tokens that way. Trading a 1/1 token for their best bomby creature is pretty fun. So I think I will take Role Reversal here, although Despark is a pretty decent removal spell. It is in two colors as well, though. And it only hits big stuff, and then Tyrant Scorn is a two-color removal spell that only hits small stuff. So either of those are somewhat situational removal spells. Role Reversal is a situation removal spell that has a much bigger upside than either of those. This requires you to have something to give them in return, but you're not only killing their threat, you're gaining it for your own advantage. So I think this is a bit better than those, and those were the best three cards in that pack. Here we have Angrath, Captain of Chaos. This will work pretty well with Role Reversal by giving us those zombie army tokens to amass and giving us a planeswalker that could be sitting there with one loyalty, not doing a lot. However, the static ability on Angrath is pretty decently powerful, so we are giving them something of value if we give them an Angrath. There's also Dreadhorde Twins, similar. It's going to work well in an amass deck. 4 mana for 4 total power and toughness, a 2/2 and a 2/2 zombie army, and your zombie army now has trample from then on. I think Dreadhorde Twins or Angrath are the picks here, and both seem pretty solid to me. I think I'll go with the Dreadhorde Twins. It's just a little bit easier to cast at just 1 red and then 3 of anything, instead of the double red required on Angrath, since if we're playing a deck with Role Reversal, we're gonna be blue-red. We're not really likely to be able to be blue-red-black and play Role Reversal, although I guess there is some decent mana fixing. That being said, I kind of want to just take a black card here, take a Spark Harvest. I think it's the best removal spell in this pack. I definitely like it better than Tyrant Scorn just because it can kill any creature and it can kill any planeswalker. This is sorcery speed and potentially more mana if you're not sacrificing a creature for it, but Tyrant Scorn only messes with creatures, and even at that, it can't kill every creature. So I think I like Spark Harvest here. There's also Mana Geode for doing the 3-color thing if I am trying to do full Grixis, but again, I wouldn't really be taking the mana fixing unless I'm sure I am going to be doing the 3-color deck. I think I'm going to go with Spark Harvest here. Now we have Tomic, Distinguished Advocist. I was going to say Disguised Advocist, but that is not what this card is. So this is a 2-mana 2/3 flying. That's pretty much it. The other parts of this card don't really do anything. Definitely above the curve. It does require double white though, so you have to be heavy white to play it, although I do think that seems pretty solid to me. So we have Spark Reaper, and we have Lazotep Reaver. Both of these will be solid in a Rakdos or Grixis amass style strategy. I think Raging Crunch is fine in a pretty aggressive deck, and Turd Ogre, definitely less exciting. The red cards aren't as exciting as the black cards to me here, so maybe we won't be doing the Role Reversal thing. I think Spark Reaper or Lazotep Reaver. I'm going to take the Spark Reaper here, although we do already have a Spark Harvest, so it's like we have one sacrifice outlet in a sense, and only one thing that amasses right now, so maybe we take the Reaver first. I don't know. I do just really like the Spark Reaper. Gaining a life and drawing a card is a pretty big bonus to get out of sacrificing your small tokens or useless planeswalkers. So for blue-red, we would have Invade the City here, which would be good only in that very specific tons of instants and sorceries kind of deck, and we already have 2 black cards here, so I don't think I'm going to end up taking that. We have Herald of the Dreadhorde, a decent amass card, nice 4 mana 3/2 that amasses 2 when it dies. I think that's probably the best creature out of these, although Tidebearer Giant and Grim Initiate I think are the second best. Kind of tied. Grim Initiate gives you 2 sacrifice triggers, because you can sacrifice the Initiate and then sacrifice the 1/1 that you create with it, and then I don't remember the third creature because I got excited on the inside because I see Deliver Unto Evil again, and Deliver Unto Evil going this late here, pick 6. The card is pretty weird to to kind of see how good it is, to try to assess the card if you've never played with it before, but we played with this card literally last draft, and it was pretty great. If you have a deck with a lot of cheap cards, cheap removal in general, it doesn't take that long for this to be able to consistently draw you 2 cards, and you know it's drawing you 2 non-land cards. Even if they're the weakest cards in your grave, I think this is still just a great card for a black deck, so I'm definitely going to take Deliver Unto Evil there. You pick your 4 best cards in your graveyard, and your opponent gives you the worst 2 out of those 4, is how it works. Now, I'm kind of actually looking to Mano Geode here, because I'm not super excited by Shriek Diver. Just a 2/1 flyer. Flyers are good in this format with the amount of amass and just board stalls that can happen. But this is not the most exciting flyer ever. I think I am going to take Mana Geode, maybe make it more possible to end up splashing things. We only have 1 mono red card here, so we could end up trying to be blue-black and splash in red for role reversal if we get really lucky. We'll see. Definitely liking how black's looking, but green actually is looking like the other most open color out of this pack. Bloom Hulk, Crunch Wrangler, and Pollen Bright Druid are all solid green cards. 4 mana 4/4 that proliferates is great. Just a 4 mana 4/4 with upside, really good for the mana cost. Crunch Wrangler is great with the power 4 or greater theme, getting a +1/+1 counter every time, and good with the proliferate theme. And Pollen Bright Druid as well. I am going to just take Tidebearer Giant here, though. We are 100% playing black here, and Tidebearer Giant is a solid card at the top end in our definite color. Here, I might lean towards one of these green cards over the Tidebearer Giant, because you already have 1 now. Could probably get more later, and green is looking open for being like black-green here. Obviously, getting past another Tidebearer Giant right after we took one makes it pretty awkward, because that means last pick we could have just taken like a Bloom Hulk or something and then just gotten the Tidebearer Giant there, and that would have been better than getting a Crawl Stinger there. But I am liking potentially moving into green-black here, but we did see a Spark Reaper that late, so Spark Reaper is easily going to be the pick. Here we have Huatli's Raptor, 2/3 Vigilance for 2 that proliferates when it comes into play, or Pollen Bright Druid, 2 mana 1/1 that proliferates when it comes into play. Just because Pollen Bright Druid is so much easier to cast, we're going to take that over the Huatli's Raptor, because we are already kind of looking towards green-black as being the most open colors, as you can see here as well. We'll take a Giant Growth, I guess. We're just taking a random pump spell here. I'm not going to main deck a Return to Nature. There aren't as many artifacts and enchantments or graveyard synergies in this format as there were in Theros, so Return to Nature, while it was main deckable in Theros, I don't feel it's main deckable here. Here we'll take a Chain Whip Cyclops, not the most exciting thing ever. Well, last pick Manticore is actually not bad for us. What have we opened up here? We've opened up a Tomic, so there's another Tomic. We did see one of those last time. This pack is not super exciting. I guess if we do end up in green-black, we could go with Mowu. This is great with +1/+1 counter synergies. It gets 2 +1/+1 counters instead of 1 whenever you put any on it. It just comes with 1 additional counter every time. There's also Chasmina. I think Chasmina is probably the strongest card in this pack, but we're not really blue. We just have Role Reversal, so we'd have to try to be blue-black, and that would be the first blue card that we've taken then. Outside of Role Reversal, which we probably wouldn't end up playing, because we're probably not trying to do any splashy things. I don't know, I think I'm going to take Mowu here. Blue didn't seem particularly open to me, and green and black definitely seemed well open enough to be in those colors here. Now what do we have? Solar Blaze, pretty far from the colors we are right now, but definitely an okay Wrath effect. Guess I'll take another Herald of the Dreadhorde or an Arlen's Wolf. We'll stick to our core color here and take the black cards first when they are pretty comparable in power level. Vraska's finisher's pretty solid. Out of green, we could take a Centaur Nurture, Ward Scale Crocodile, or in red we could take Honor the God Pharaoh. Those are all pretty even with Vraska's finisher in my book, so I think, again, we're just going to take the card that is in our core color that we'll definitely be playing over the other ones here. Band Together. That is a great card right here. would pretty much solidify me into green, although there's Heartfire and Dreadhorde Twins in red, so there's great red stuff here still. A great black card, Toll of the Invasion. It's actually a really difficult pick. Band Together is going to be just phenomenal in green-black. We already have a Death Toucher as well. This card is brutal with a Death Toucher. You just have your Death Toucher deal damage to whatever you want and just kill anything at instant speed for 3. I think I'm going to commit to green-black here and take a Band Together. But it is a close pick. These are all great cards. Band Together, Dreadhorde Twins, Toll of the Invasion, and Heartfire. All of those pretty excellent. Well, and then there's a Spellgorger Weird, so red's open enough. We could be in red as well here. Could just take a third Spark Reaper. Definitely missing out on that Lazotep Reaver right now. Ending up with a third Spark Reaver at this point. Alright, Toll of the Invasion is going to be great. We have triple Spark Reaper, so we want the things like that. Although Spark Harvest as well is going to be great. Try to get things sorted by what mana cost my creatures are here. Get the non-creatures into another pile. Alright, so there's our creature curve, and then here's all our non-creature stuff. I think I am going to take another Spark Harvest. We have Band Together and Spark Harvest right now. I could definitely use more removal. I could utilize it well. We have Sorin's Thirst. Aid the Fallen with no Planeswalkers. Not going to take that. Thundering Ceratok for the top end. We already got a 6-drop. Few 4-drops. We do have double Spark Harvest. Band Together. A little Combat Trick. Giant Growth. I think I'll go with a Ceratok here. I'm not going to take an Iron Bully. Sure, it combos with Mowu, but with pretty much anything else, it's just not that great. Pick 8 Living Twister. No respect for Living Twister. I guess nobody's in Gruul here, which is unfortunate because neither am I, and this is very unsplashable, requiring double red. But this card is incredibly powerful. I am just going to take Arlen's Wolf here. Looks like Gruul might have been the colors to be. But we've been getting like decently late Spark Harvests and stuff in just green-black as well. New Horizons can ramp into big stuff and put a counter on Mowu, but if we're playing it to put a counter on Mowu, we're playing it on turn 5 anyway after we've already cast Mowu, so then we're not ramping. Yeah, not the biggest combo ever. I'll just go with Arlen's Wolf. Arboreal Grazer's just not something you're really looking for. But neither is Iron Bully. I don't really like either of these that much. I'm not going to play any of these off-color cards. I think the best card in the pack is Erratic Visionary, but it's just not going to get played. Centaur, Nurturer, or Word Scale Crocodile. Only 3 toughness on the Word Scale Crocodile is a hard sell, but Hexproof is good. Take a Centaur Nurturer. Toll of the Invasion, pick 12. Happy to see that, but Dreadhorde Twins, pick 12? Alright, well, Jund's a good color scheme to be in here. If we had more mana fixing, we'd be good. But yeah, we're getting plenty in green-black. We're getting Vivian's Grizzly that late, which is a great mana sink. In the late game, if you're in a top deck war, this just wins you that top deck war really easily. You just keep spamming that ability until you hit creatures. If you got nothing else to do with your mana anyway. This is an exceptional pack. Good lord, we have Vraska, Swarm's Eminence, 4 mana for basically 2/1/1 Death Touchers at worst, and that's pretty great because you trade up with those every time. Obviously very good with Band Together. Vizier of the Scorpions, all of a sudden all of your zombie tokens have Death Touch, so you just sit there with a 1/1 zombie army all game, and every time they kill one, just play another card that amasses one. Really annoying to get through. Dreadhorde Invasion, really bomby rare if you get this out on turn 2. Consistently amassing one every turn, just getting a giant army is pretty exceptional. With other amass cards, you can get it to power 6 even faster. Bloom Hulk to proliferate on stuff, and a 4 mana 4/4. There's Sorin's Thirst in there. That's just a beautiful pack where there's a lot of cards we'd be happy to wheel, and just a great pack in general. We do have a lot of creatures now, like 16 here, so I don't think we really need to push for creatures super heavily here, so I think I will take a Spark Harvest before Bloom Hulk, but Bloom Hulk is quite good. Just don't have a ton of +1/+1 counter stuff. We're just using Bloom Hulk to proliferate on our zombie army basically here. Other than that, we have 1 Pollen Bright Druid, 1 Iron Bully to put a +1/+1 counter on a creature. Probably not really doing the Mowu thing either, just running this as a 4 mana 3/3 Vigilance Trample, which it's fine at there. Now, Sorin's Thirst, I guess it is. I'm not going to play Return to Nature, not really likely to play Price of Betrayal either. Probably not a Mana Geode deck. Probably not an Iron Bully deck. Get this down to kind of our 23 here so we can just keep editing it as things go on. Not playing Aid the Fallen, we just have no Planeswalkers, so this is just 2 mana to return 1 creature to our hand. More pump spells, not really looking for more non-creature stuff because we have just good removal instead of just running pump spells here. I guess I can just speculate on an Interplanar Beacon if we get some kind of really powerful, mildly off-color Planeswalker. Could end up trying to splash it with that because I'm just not casting anything else in that pack. Courage in Crisis is a pretty solid card. When you ramp out, you have a bunch of creatures on your board. It really helps when you have other stuff that proliferates as well. If you have Bloomhulks, Pollenbright Druids, that kind of thing in your deck, this is a card that really helps you enable that stuff by getting a +1/+1 counter onto more of your cards. Kron Shringler as well. These are both good for those synergies, but Bleeding Edge, just straight up killing something small and getting your own army is also good. It does set you up to proliferate as well by giving you that 2/2 army. I'm going to take Bleeding Edge there. I think there were definitely other options that were available. Another Vivian's Grizzly for a good late game mana sink. Another Tidebearer Giant for just a nice late drop. Or like a Vraska's Finisher again. We already got a million cards at 3 mana, I feel. It's got a Centaur Nurturer ramping us up into not much of anything. I think I'll take another Tidebearer Giant here, actually. Get a little bit more for our Centaur Nurturer to do. We could take another Centaur Nurturer here. But maybe we are really in on the amass kind of stuff with our Dreadhorde invasion. Just keep trying to make a really big zombie army. Herald, Nurturer, Ceratok are the picks here. I'll go for another Herald. Mobilized District. This is crazy late for Mobilized District, in my opinion. I'll absolutely take this. This is just a fine card for literally any deck. It's not great if you're in like 3 color because it does make your mana base a little bit worse by tapping for colorless, but it only costs 4 mana to activate it, and then it's a 3/3 vigilance creature. And getting that out of one of your land drops is very great. It's a really good spell land, in my opinion, in my book. Don't have like anything at all at 2 mana in terms of creatures, so I guess I'll pick up this 2 mana 2/2 here, although it isn't great. Did Wheel of Vivian Grizzly there. I will definitely play that. Return to Nature I will not. And the final few picks now. Another Giant Growth or a Steady Aim. I guess we do have one Giant Growth already, and I'm not extra excited about playing it, so I'll grab one Steady Aim as well. This, I mean, it has a lot of text on here that can really surprise somebody. It can really be the definition of a combat trick. Wow, we don't have enough creatures with power 4 or greater to trigger this very often, unfortunately. But that is a super late Kron Shringler. But yeah, Steady Aim just does so much random stuff. It can really surprise people. You untap your creature, you give +1/+4, so you get a massive amount of toughness to win at combat, and you get Reach out of nowhere to kill a flyer. Very, very tricky combat trick, that is for sure. Alright, let's turn that style off on Deliver Unto Evil. And build us a Golgari deck here. We have 20 creatures, 11 non-creatures right now. Definitely good to cut a few creatures right now. Definitely keeping Band Together in here. I do like Crawl Stinger with that, so that is pretty fun. Maybe cut a couple Arlen's Wolf. I suppose it depends on the matchup. I really don't like our 2-drops, but we do want 2-drops. They are just pretty mediocre cards generally, except Pollenbright Druid, but in this deck, Pollenbright Druid is pretty mediocre. Mowu, Centaur Nurturer. Honestly, don't feel like we're really ramping much with this Nurturer. We can cut a Nurturer, cut a Giant. Just get off of the ramp plan. Deliver Unto Evil is like our kind of late game draw spell. Try to get back into things if we run out of cards. Yeah, I have enough just decent removal spells. I think I'm going to cut the combat tricks here. And then we need to cut 4 more cards. We have Toll of the Invasion and Bleeding Edge, both being spells that give us little creatures, and Dreadhorde Invasion giving us armies. So that's like 3 more creatures down here. So I think I'm good to just cut a bunch of creatures now. I'm kind of feeling cutting the Arlen's Wolves. The Spark Reapers are all wonderful with Dreadhorde Invasion. We didn't get that much to combo with them because we don't have that much amass in this deck, unfortunately. I definitely should have taken a Lazotep Reaver after that, or instead of that 1 Spark Reaper, because this deck would be a lot better with 1 Lazotep Reaver and 2 Spark Reaper. But at the time we didn't have either of them, so I wasn't sure which we were going to see more often. Just don't know what people's general pick orders on the cards are, so how late we'll see them in the packs. I think I'll cut a couple Arlen's Wolf. I kind of like cutting a Herald. One of these 4-drops, and then just maybe even cutting one of the Spark Reapers. Or just one of the mediocre 2-drops. Maybe Duskmantle Operative is the most mediocre. Because with so many amass cards, Duskmantle Operative is almost never gonna be able to get in. They're just gonna have a 2/2 zombie army or something random. Most of the games that we've played in this format so far have involved tons of very cluttered board states, tons of creatures all over. Alright, well, here we are with Golgari Amass, sort of. Not super pumped about this deck, but we've got good removal, we have decent creatures, a fine curve, we can try to go for it off of that. We've got some good late game mana sinks with the double Vivian's Grizzly, Spark Reapers. These are the kind of cards that can win us the game if we're in a top deck war, hopefully. Yeah, we got a Mobilized District as well, so we have one of our lands being a creature as well once we hit the late game. Pretty solid stuff here. Let's see how our mana's looking. 15 black symbols on our cards and only 8 green. None of our green cards require double green. Multiple of our black cards require double black, Sorin's Thirst and Bleeding Edge, and the Spark Harvests if we're casting them for 5. So I am going to cut down 1 forest, add in 1 more swamp here. We definitely need double black much more often than we need double green ever. So yeah. We do generally need just a lot of black mana here, so we'll go 9-7 split on it. And head into round 1, see how this deck rolls. Wondering if there are more people playing War of the Spark now. They did officially announce what the next Premier Draft format is for after the 26th. That is when War of the Spark is rotating out of the Premier Draft formats. And before they just said it was Core Sets Premier Draft, which everyone just assumed, oh, that's just going to be like M21 or something. But they actually officially said that the next Premier Draft format is going to be where you get to draft 1 pack of M21, 1 pack of M20, and 1 pack of M19. So it's going to be a fun little mix of all 3 of those formats together. I think that'll be really exciting, really interesting, so I'm pretty pumped for that. Anyways, we have made it into a game now. The queue is over. Let's get our head in the game, and I think this is just a fantastic opener. Dreadhorde Invasion turn 2 is the absolute best time to ever play that card. The sooner the better. And we even have the Spark Reaper. If our zombie army gets walled off in any way, we can start just using Dreadhorde Invasion to draw cards when we have the extra mana. So we've got very good uses for the invasion, both in the early and late game. Our opponent starts off with an island, and we will start off with the invasion. Double blue from our opponent, and a Sky Theater Strix to start things off. Don't have any combat tricks or pump spells here, and it's not worth a Spark Harvest in my opinion to kill their 1-2, so I'll just drop down a Spark Reaper and pass the turn. The Sky Theater Strix is a solid evasive threat, which can matter in this format. But since it doesn't scry or anything, I definitely like it a bit worse than the red card that gets +1/+0 every time and scries. It looks like we just get in for 4 here. Opponent is stuck on just double blue right now, so the mana situation could just end poorly for our opponent. We'll drop down to Vivian's Grizzly, because we already have Spark Reaver's ability available. It's the same power and toughness, so we'll just get Vivian's Grizzly's ability available to us as well now. So we can do whatever we want with our extra mana. Aven Eternal, a 2/2 flyer, and they get a 1/1 there. Band together here, we get to kill something without losing a creature. Can kill something without losing a creature with Spark Harvest, but I could also use that on a Planeswalker later. This is instant speed, so I'm pretty free to attack here. If they double block one of our things, they could try to kill it, but a band together can stop that, and I don't think they will. Yeah, it looks like we just get in with everybody. Seems good to me, and now we can just pass turn. If we have to band together, we can. If we don't, we can use Vivian's Grizzly's ability to look at the top. I don't know why it's so hard to say Vivian's Grizzly. Alright, and there's the concession from our opponent. Unfortunately, still stuck on 3 lands here against a pretty great bomb rare, the Dreadhorde Invasion. Just a high variance game there. Not much magic to be played. But I will graciously accept the gift of victory that Dreadhorde Invasion has given us today. Moving on to round 2. I do want to go through and look back on the old core set formats to see what the overlapping strategies for each color pair are going to be, because I think that could be pretty fun. Alright. Black is our most important color, so it's not too bad to be cut off of green. We have more black cards than green cards. We've got a lot of double black cards. If we hit 1 land, we can use Spark Reaper and Bleeding Edge. Not really going to be able to cast Deliver onto Evil until the very late game anyway. Bleeding Edge is going to be good against aggressive decks. If we're against a slower deck, we just straight up have more time to draw the correct mana. Opponent's on the play here, so mulliganing isn't as bad. But we also have more time to just draw into the green source. This hand is not great just because of the mana, but I think if this hand just had a forest, it would be pretty great, pretty fantastic. I think I will keep it. Still have 2 more turns to draw land, and it can be any land and we'll be fine. Have multiple options to play. Alright, still have 1 turn to draw land. It could be any land and we'll be fine. Playing against another blue-green deck here. See if they actually get to cast some spells. Probably so. Crawl Stinger to start things off, and there we go. Never didn't have it. Pretty much the perfect start to this game. They gave us a solid 2 toughness creature to kill with our Bleeding Edge, so that we get to kill something and get our 2/2 zombie army out to start things. Seems great. They've got 4 mana up and they didn't cast anything here. This might be a Crush Descent or something like that. Counter one of my spells unless I pay 2 and create a 2/2 zombie army. Our weakest spell I think is Cron Strangler. We don't have any 4 power things to put any extra counters on it. And we don't want to play Vraska's Finisher without something to kill anyway, so we'll play Cron Strangler, see if we get crushed here. Be happy if it does occur, because then we get it out of the way. On a quite mediocre card, just a 2/1. That's not particularly likely to get bigger throughout this game. Yep, Crush Descent it is. Get that out of here. Five mana available for our opponent now, and an Ashiok's Skulker coming out. I can trade up into that with a Vraska's Finisher, or I can Spark Harvest up into that. I think I'd rather trade up with a Vraska's finisher if they allow the trade, because then I can save Spark Harvest again for potentially Planeswalkers and stuff. If they don't take the trade, I could play Herald of the Dreadhorde, then I can block their 2/2 with it, and my zombie army would become a 4/4. So they probably won't attack into it. If I play my Spark Reaper, if I want to get really defensive here, I can just play Spark Reaper to have a blocker big enough against their zombie army and just sacrifice this 2/2 to Spark Harvest the Skulker, get it out of the way. I'm at 18 life. I don't think I have to play that defensively. Although they are down to 3 cards in hand. Yeah, I feel like I want to save Spark Harvest potentially for something else. It's just between Herald or Spark Reaper here. Against blue, I'm slightly less excited to try to just make a 4/4 zombie army because they could have the bounce spell to put it back in my hand and just kill my army. That would be bad. I don't know. I'm just going to play my most expensive card here. Just a pretty easy little heuristic to make your decision quickly in situations like that. You really can't decide, just make the best use of all of your mana. Wall of Runes from our opponent. That is going to wall off our Herald. Can't attack in with a 3/2 against an 0/4 very well. We already couldn't attack in against their Ashiok Skulker. But that may be attacking me every turn. They don't even have to give it unblockability here, because all I can do is chump block it. But again, we're at 18 life. We don't have a Command the Dreadhorde in this deck or anything super cool like that that requires us to be at a high life total. Although we do have... forget the name of the 2-mana spell. Dreadhorde Invasion, that we do want a decent amount of life to deal with. Alright, a bunch of mediocre creatures from our opponent. Feeling pretty good here. Spark Harvest is going to be great now that we just have a 1/1 to sacrifice. So they have nothing else in hand. We don't really have to play around anything, but it would still be good to hold 1 removal spell back if we can. I don't think we can afford to now. We are down to 13. I think I have to just get rid of their unblockable creature. Slow them down. I can play another Herald. And Spark Harvest here. Since this is going to die anyway, I'll attack in with it and see if I can kill something with Vraska's finisher instead. Alright, well, at least we got 1 damage in with it. But yeah, it's just going to die here. Alright, now we're set. We have the defenses against all of their attacks and 3 additional cards. So I'm actually feeling like I'm sitting pretty here. Because our board is slightly better than theirs, and we're not even in a top deck where we have 3 cards to play around with. Our board's slightly better because this trades there, and we get left with a 2/2 army thanks to the death ability on this. 2, 3, 4, 5. We also have Mobilize District as another 3/3. I have enough mana to cast Finisher and Spark Reaper. I think I'm going to cast Spark Reaper pre-combat. And if any like funny business happens here, I could sacrifice one of my creatures. Like if they block in Giant Growth, I can sacrifice to draw a card. If they block with Wall of Runes, we're just going to play Vraska's Finisher, finish off the wall. That way we can keep attacking in with everything next turn. They don't have anything big enough to block. Alright, looks like we're getting in for 3, trading our 2/2s around. That's fine to me. We've got 4 cards in our grave. I can pick lands, and I don't even have a land in my grave anyway. Yeah, might as well deliver onto evil here, rather than holding up a Spark Reaper, I think. Or casting a Vraska's Finisher, because Finisher's still got a good ETB effect. So they probably give us our Crunch Wrangler and our... Actually, the second card they give us is going to be good no matter what. Crunch Wrangler's bad, so they just give us Crunch Wrangler, but then they're giving us a Herald of the Dreadhorde, or a Spark Harvest, or a Bleeding Edge. All of those are actually pretty great right now. So Deliver Unto Evil, definitely putting in some work here. Would be really cool if that was an instant like Gifts Ungiven was, but sorcery speed, I'll take it. At least I think Gifts Ungiven's an instant. I've actually never played that card in my life, because I cannot afford Modern and never could. Alright, so we did get Bleeding Edge. That's very solid for us. We get to kill their Naga Eternal and amass an army. Happy to see that. Their other options were not great. As we said before, they had to give us something good there. They actually gave us Herald and Bleeding Edge. They didn't want to give us Kron Strangler. That's very surprising. I guess they were a little worried about the trample, maybe? Or they wanted to give us the most expensive cards possible, because we can't cast both of these in the same turn, so maybe they're just trying to slow down our tempo. If they give us Kron Strangler and Bleeding Edge, we can just cast both immediately in that one turn. I can't do that here. So that could have been definitely a consideration they had going here. Yeah, because if I cast Bleeding Edge here, I don't cast anything else this turn. So that would definitely make sense for the reasoning behind their play. Maybe they have a steady aim here. Be funny, because they are looking at the Naga Eternal. Alright, no, we will just Vraska's Finisher, the annoying blocker here. We're at 10, so we have plenty of time to deal with Naga Eternal. I highly doubt they have like a +7/+7 spell. Yeah, they're just going to scoop him up there. We definitely have the card advantage in that game, and that is going to push us up into Diamond Tier 3. I don't want to get overexcited here, but that is pretty cool. If I get too excited here, then I'll get really disappointed when we inevitably fall back down at some point. So 2 wins and no losses. Pretty solid stuff from our Golgari deck here. Pretty standard deck generally. Deliver Unto Evil being a pretty solid draw spell, and the only real bomb involved in our deck is the Dreadhorde Invasion. Didn't get to play around with that one this game, but still did some great stuff, just outvaluing our opponent. Bleeding Edge was very ideal in that game, as was Vraska's Finisher. Just cards like that were pretty great. Where we got a creature and did a little bit more than that. Alright. We are moving on. Round 3. Against Applesauce. What a fantastic username. Wow, I'm kind of jealous. Definitely going to keep this. We have Crawl Stinger and Band Together. The 1-2 punch. Play a Crawl Stinger, and then at instant speed you get to Band Together, deal Death Touch damage to any target at instant speed. So we can kill anything they play. Of course, we can only do it one time, but still. Any non-hexproof card they play, I should say. Blue-black isn't going to be generally the best matchup for Band Together, because blue-black is going to have a lot of mass cards and stuff like that. So I'm definitely a little less excited about that whole combo, because they're not likely to play a really big creature anytime soon. And for that same reason, I'm just going to play a Vivian's Grizzly. I'm more expectant to see like a 1/4 that amasses 1, or a 1/2 that amasses 1, than I am to see like a big dork to block things. So I'd rather just play the higher toughness creature here. Play Herald of the Dreadhorde this turn, probably. Again, just get our biggest creature out on the board. And if they have a No Escape, they do get to counter this, but that's fine. Just a 1-for-1 trade our spells with each other. No counter spell here, so they might be... Just no 3-drop there, alright. I was going to say they might be holding up something else, but... I just didn't have a 3-mana card in hand. Here comes Thunderdrake. Ooh, maybe they did, but they wanted to get greedy and wait for Thunderdrake to be on the field first. Because Thunderdrake does get a +1/+1 counter whenever they cast 2 spells in one turn. So it's possible they actually do have like 2 2-mana spells in their hand, but they wanted to wait till the turn after Thunderdrake, so they can just cast both of those next turn and make it even bigger. That being said, I'm just going to kill that thing right now so I can get in for damage and not worry about this getting massive throughout this game. The sad part of doing that is that now I don't get to do it with Crawl Stinger, and that is pretty sad. Technically, I should have attacked with Herald of the Dreadhorde first, maybe, because maybe they'd take that trade. I doubt they would, but that trade would be good for me. It was probably better to do it pre-combat, because I get 2 more damage in that way, and if they just weren't going to block Herald, then just getting 2 more damage in is better. Vampire Opportunist. I'm fine with the trade, because we trade and I still keep a 2-2. So just attack in with everybody. They only have 2 blue up. I don't expect that's going to be any combat tricks. Maybe reduce my power, but definitely nothing to add to theirs. Alright, the trade happens. I still get a zombie army out of it at least, and we'll cast another Herald. Don't know exactly what's going on in my opponent's hand here. Well, so far just curving out with some mediocre creatures is working out okay for us. Maybe they need double black. There is the second black mana now. We'll see. Could be a Bleeding Edge. That would be pretty brutal. I guess not the greatest ever, because if they kill Herald, then our zombie army's a 4-4. Ashiok's actually going to be pretty bad in this game, because we're firmly on the aggressive, so I don't think this is a game that's going to come to milling, although that does mill us 20 cards. I think I'm literally just going to ignore Ashiok and just get as much damage on our opponent as possible. We do 7 here, and then we cast Crawl Stinger. It's not that hard to kill Ashiok. Like, all I have to do is send 2 of these at Ashiok and kill it, so I could send these 2 and then do 3 to them still. Ashiok is really good against our Deliver Unto Evil, so that is pretty brutal. I think I just keep the aggression going. Just try to kill our opponent. Ashiok's not going to kill us for quite a while. And I think if we just get out of our well-posed aggressive position, we're probably going to lose this game eventually anyway, because they have the card advantage against us. They don't really need the library size advantage. If the game goes long, they just win by having more cards than we do. So we're just doing everything we can to end this game as quickly as possible. And now even if they play a blocker, I can Spark Harvest attack in with everybody else. They're at 4 life here. They need to do something pretty big to survive another attack. Something like 2 removal spells and a creature spell. So Bleeding Edge and, I don't know, double Bleeding Edge? Bleeding Edge and Callous Dismissal maybe, but because both of those amass, they would both be removal spells, but they would put all of their counters on 1 zombie army. They couldn't get 2 zombie armies out of it. Well, Finale of Eternity is something massive. Arguably one of the biggest bombs in the set. I did listen to the Limited Resources Sunset show for War of the Spark before heading into this format, and that was, in LSV's opinion, the biggest groan test card, because it was the, I think that's what it was, because it was the card that could just immediately change a game from I'm definitely winning to, oh, I guess I lost. I could Spark Harvest Ashiok here, but again, that's going to hit for 12 more cards. No, we'll still have a library even after that goes off, so we save Spark Harvest again for a blocker. We have the 5 mana to cast it, so they have to kill one of our creatures and create 2 blockers, or kill 2 of our creatures here. If they kill a creature, play 1 blocker, we can just Spark Harvest their blocker by paying the full additional cost. I think we're going to get there here. Through a Finale of Eternity, so that is impressive. If we do. That's what I'm hoping for. Alright, 1 mana up, we still got a Herald. There's the concession from Applesauce. Best username I've played against today, unless I wasn't paying attention. So 3-0 for our Golgari heroes. I don't have much to say. I wasn't really expecting this. I feel like this deck's pretty average. Definitely didn't notice anything super exciting going for it, but it's got the fundamentals. It's got removal, it's got creatures, it's got a curve. So it can and will win some games, as we've seen so far. So we're at least average here, 3-3. Absolutely going to go hard to win at least 1 more game, get all my gems back. 4 and 3 is where it's at. Alright, we have both our colors, 3 lands, definitely a hand I'm keeping here. We even have double black for the Sword's Thirst in hand. Pretty great opener, I think. Just play Swamp turn 1, Swamp turn 2, and then Spark Reaper turn 3. Lands in that order so we can hold up Sword's Thirst. And again, as usual, we're going to hold Spark Harvest as long as possible so we have it around for whatever the biggest threat of the game is. Hopefully. 7 cards in our opponent's hand. I believe they're still choosing whether or not to mulligan. Nope, just waiting to see what basic land they wanted to play there. So we are against white. White in the deck, or white in this set, has a lot of good flyers, good annoying tapping creatures, and some decent removal. The 1 mana 1/2 that can tap things down. There's the 3 mana 2/2 flyer that can give your other creatures flying whenever it attacks. Lots of pesky stuff like that. White and blue would definitely expect to see a lot of flyers here, but they could also just be a more controlling deck. With a Guild Globe from our opponent, we know that they can easily splash in an off-color bomb. Guild Globe definitely a very nice card to have in this set, with so many multicolored bomby cards you can get. I think I'm going to Toll of the Invasion here, just see what's up with my opponent, because it's this or a Spark Reaper. Spark Reaper's only going to do 1 more damage than an Amass token would, and now I get to see what's up here. Bloom Hulk, so they are blue, white, and green. I think I just get rid of their cheapest card here, the Thunder Drake. We can't kill that with a Sorin's Thirst anyway. We could kill an Iron Bully with a Sorin's Thirst, and Dambreaker's quite a bit away. Whenever they play Dambreaker, we can kill it with Spark Harvest. So I think I kill Thunder Drake here. Maybe they'll even sacrifice the Guild Globe to cast a Bloom Hulk, but they wouldn't do that unless they have something to proliferate onto, I think. I don't know, maybe they really want a 4/4 out. Oh, they... oh, never didn't have it. They did immediately hit the forest that we knew they did not have in hand earlier. Well, I can still surprise Sorin's Thirst. However, if I want to hold on to that, I can't cast anything this turn, because I don't have anything I could cast for only 1 or 2 mana. So I just play a land past turn. In response to their Bloom Hulk, I'll kill their Iron Bully. Actually should have just killed Iron Bully right there and then attacked, probably. I sneak in 1 extra point of damage there. I don't think there's anything they could really draw that would make me want to keep holding on to this Sorin's Thirst this turn. I think that's highly unlikely. Blast Zone. Alright, so they can blow some stuff up. Definitely Sorin's Thirst now. Make sure that the Iron Bully does not turn into a 3/3 menace, and Bloom Hulk is just a 4/4, all by its lonesome. So they can, yeah, I was going to say they can proliferate onto Blast Zone, but right now my only permanent out doesn't die to Blast Zone, so they don't even know what mana cost they're trying to hit on it here. I think my best play is just a Herald of the Dreadhorde pass. Herald of the Dreadhorde is a 4 mana cost card. Blast Zone kills everything of whatever mana cost they choose, like however many counters this gets to. So if I play a 4-drop, if they want to Blast Zone 4-drops, they're killing their own Bloom Hulk, so that's just bad. And if they attack in with Bloom Hulk, I get to block with Herald and my 1/1, and we trade there, and I keep a 2/2 zombie army because I have mass with the Herald. So they can't even attack in well. Herald is just very good on this board. We know they have 2 more lands, and they have a 5/6, but it's a 5/6 that proliferates, and they have no +1/+1 counters on anything, so I'm feeling pretty good right now. That being said, my deck has a lot of 3-drops, and our hand has a lot of 3-drops, so Blast Zone can really get us on 3. Even destroying just 1 thing is quite good, because then they've gotten to trade their land up into one of our cards. So I'm not super happy to play a 3-drop here, but the alternative is to play literally nothing, so I think we go for a Spark Reaper rather than Vivian's Grizzly, because they do have the mana to use this ability immediately. If I draw a land next turn, I can play a Vivian's Grizzly and start using that every turn at 4 mana. Play Spark Reaper. if they do any sorts of combat tricks, removal spells, anything like this, we've got the 3 mana up to gain a life and draw a card at the very least. Still not going to Spark Harvest anything. We know they have a 5/6 coming up, so we're holding on for that. But it is important to remember that War Screecher can tap itself down to give all of their other creatures +1/+1, so Bloomhulk can attack in as a 5/5, so if they attack with Bloomhulk without tapping anything, I do need to triple block. They are going to go ahead and put Blast Zone at 3, and they might even sacrifice it just immediately here. I would certainly hope they do, because if they don't, I can't really cast these other spells. I can't really let myself get 2 for 1 by that thing. Alright, well, the roughest part of Toll of the Invasion is you always know when your opponent's just drawing into great stuff, because you've seen their hand. And our opponent is definitely drawing into great stuff here. A Johnny, at the very worst, puts a +1/+1 counter on all of their creatures, which is very good with the Proliferate they have coming up from Dambreaker. And all their creatures have Vigilance as long as they control a Johnny. We can obviously kill a Johnny with a Spark Harvest, but it's still going to be rough here. They attack with just War Screecher. Yeah, Dambreaker's going to turn Bloomhulk into a 6/6. So they're going to have a 6/6 and a 5/6 out now, since they got to get in a Johnny, and the 2/4 flyer as well. I don't think we can let a Johnny stay around. Maybe we'll draw something that lets us attack into a Johnny well, but I doubt it. They've got a 5/5 to block, even the 2/4 to just block Herald. Very unlikely. Yeah, we just can't attack into a Johnny well. Johnny is a very impressive Bomby Planeswalker here. Just a very solid ability to get, even if you only get to use it the one time. Kind of have to just kill that. But a Johnny might have done enough work, even just throwing the counter on the field, to close out this game for our opponent, because now they have their entire field just has good targets to proliferate onto. They had no counters before that. Well, I'm very happy that that is out of the way, so I can actually cast my other 3-drops. Plus, that means they're not casting the Dambreaker here, so they're not making their field even bigger. So I am really happy to see that play from our opponent, because that gives us the breathing room to not just start getting slaughtered by a bunch of big stuff. And now I can actually just play multiple creatures here, so I can set up for a big block on their ground creatures. Although I'd probably just play Tithe Bearer Giant here. I mean, a 4/5, that'll be attacking as a 6/6, so I just block with a 4/5 and a 3/2. They can only kill one of the two, and if they kill the 3/2, I amass. Yeah, I think we just play Tithe Bearer Giant anyway. So I guess it didn't super matter. Do I have anything that makes me discard a card? I don't believe so, but I am going to double check real quick. I do use untapped.gg as a decent deck tracker for those interested. Deck trackers are, of course, just programs that'll give you all the information that you could do if you were playing super try-hard and writing everything down. If you wrote down your deck list and then just scratched off every card whenever you drew it, you would know what's still in your deck, so the deck trackers just do that for you. They like check it out and show you what's still in there. So I do recommend them so that you can just look through your deck list during the game and see if you have any cards that combo in whatever specific way. I'm surprised they still didn't play Dambreaker, but I guess they're really going for as much value as possible. That is just giving us more time to potentially draw into something bomby, but our only bomby card is not good this late in the game. Actually, it is with another Spark Reaper, now that I think of it. Do I want to play Vivian's Grizzly and just keep trying to draw more cards off of it? I don't think I actually want to draw any creatures here. I just want to draw more Spark Harvests. We have 2 Spark Harvests. A Bleeding Edge isn't going to do it. We have a Band Together that would do it. We've got multiple removal spells, and we're just looking for removal, so we don't actually want to draw cards with Vivian's Grizzly, because Vivian's Grizzly just draws creatures or planeswalkers, and that's not what we need right now. So I don't think we're playing Vivian's Grizzly. We play Spark Reaper, probably sacrifice our 1/1. Yeah, I definitely need to draw removal for the flyer, and I need to draw it pretty quickly here, being at 12 life. Alright, Dambreaker comes out. We're going to take 3 a turn from the flyer now. as well as their other creatures getting bigger. Bloom Hulk is 6/6 now. We will go for the double block of Bloom Hulk attacks. They don't have a good attack for the Wrangler because we have a 4/5 to block that. So we're dying in 5 turns to Worst Creature because we're gaining 1 life here. Deliver Unto Evil. Can choose Sorin's Thirst, Spark Harvest, Toll the Invasion, and Spark Reaper. We get 2 of them back. Not actually good right now, I think. Do I just play a creature and get ready to sacrifice something to Spark Reaper? I don't think I'm sacrificing something to Spark Reaper here. Probably play Crawl Stinger. We hold off all the ground creatures that way. And then we're just going to take 3 from Worst Creature this turn, I think. Because I don't want to really sacrifice any of these things. Maybe play a Pollen Bright Druid, put a +1/+1 counter on something. And then we can sacrifice Pollen Bright Druid next turn. We could just deliver and really hope they give us Spark Harvest. They're just not going to give us Spark Harvest. I don't think we're delivering here. It's just Grizzly or Pollen Bright Druid. I don't know what we put our +1/+1 counter on, though, is the problem. Just play Vivian's Grizzly. Just get all the toughness in the world so we know that we're fine on the ground. They could have the White Bond, though. There's a card that's like a 5-mana white spell that... well, they choose Dambreaker, though. I actually think I'd be more scared if they chose Worst Creature, but they did proliferate onto everything again, which is threatening. But I think I have enough power toughness that I can still eventually make enough stuff to block all of that. However, Worst Creature does get an additional counter with that, so it's hitting us for 4 turns, so we are going to die very quickly now. We go into 2 life. We need to sacrifice like multiple things here. Maybe sacrifice the Herald and then sacrifice the token that it makes. I have 5 mana after I cast Deliver Unto Evil. So I can play a 2-drop. So I just cast Deliver Unto Evil and then I cast... probably Pollen Bright Druid. But I just get this out of the way, that way I have tons of creatures to start playing and sacrificing to Spark Reaper. I don't know, here. See what we get. But I'm pretty sure I'm casting Pollen Bright Druid and then sacrificing it. Toll of the Invasion and Sorin's Thirst. I could cast Sorin's Thirst and sacrifice something to the Spark Reaper. 5 mana here. Sorin's Thirst doesn't really do anything for us. It does gain us some life, so we take more hits from Worst Creature. They do have a lot of power over there, though. Only one with Trample, though. I think I'm going to go for the Sorin's Thirst play, because only one of the creatures has Trample. Guild Globe, draw a card, have another mana fixer available. Martyr for the Cause. When it dies, proliferate. That's real bad news. Can't let that die, that's for sure. Just attacking with Worst Creature. I mean, I could kill it with Sorin's Thirst. I could kill the Martyr for the Cause. That's the only thing I could actually kill with it, but then I could put a counter on the rest of their stuff. This is probably actually just bad. Take 4, go down to 2. We have to sacrifice our Herald of the Dreadhorde to our Spark Reaper, I think. I don't think we have a way out of this. We had tons. We have like 4 removal spells left, I think, at this point that would have killed Worst Creature, and still will. But we just have not drawn them. Sometimes you just don't draw them. Yeah, that's pretty rough. I can gain 2 life right now. Just don't kill the Martyr for the Cause, but their board is wide enough. I go block, 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 block. I take trample damage and die that way. I guess I do get to shove down more creatures here. Yeah, we definitely don't kill Martyr for the Cause, because if we kill Martyr for the Cause, the bird is just a 5-power thing. Still drawn lands, unfortunately. more than halfway through our deck, and we've only drawn one of our 4 to 5 ways to kill the worst creature. Sad. I do kind of want to put more power toughness here. We've got 8 mana. With 9 mana, we can play 2 3-mana cards and sacrifice 1 thing. Yeah, we'll go Toll, Vivian's Grizzly, and then just sacrifice 1 thing. But this is like the most toughness we could possibly have on our field at this point of the game. Dead in 2 turns to the flyer still. One final draw step. We are going to sacrifice a Grizzly. It's our weakest creature at 2/3 power toughness. Band together. We do get to kill that with that. And then we just have to worry about the ground creatures. We're down to 16 cards though, and they're at 26. So now we have to find a way to close out this game against them somehow. Somehow turn things into our favor. I don't think our deck has that. We just don't have really bombs to break through a board like this. We have Dreadhorde Invasion, which could mill us faster. But yeah, we just don't have a way to win here. That'll be lethal plus death touch damage. And what now? That's the big problem. What now? Now we just lose to milling eventually. Oh, or that. Or that. Trusted Pegasus. They're on 4 color here. I wonder what they're splashing in. A Johnny with the green? No, they've played multiple green and white spells, so Johnny's not a splash. We've got some kind of black splash in there. Alright, they're going to our turn. We have to draw something to kill the Pegasus. But I also need to have 5 blockers out. We can sacrifice a creature here. Sacrifice a Spark Reaper, I guess. That's not gonna do it. I still need all these blockers. I think I cast a Pollen Bright Druid and sacrifice that. I can put another counter on my zombie army or one more counter on something else. I'll throw a counter on a Grizzly. Did I have enough mana to Mowu? No, because then I won't have mana to Spark Harvest without losing a creature. That would have been cute, though. Nope. Needed to draw one of our 2 Spark Harvests we have left for the Pegasus now. Now they just get to attack in for like 9. Well, that was definitely a rough one. Our opponent just got a much bigger field than we were capable of making with our cards. That is a deck we still could beat if we had just drawn better more efficiently. But our opponent also just drew extremely well with the Ajani on time and everything, letting them get into that very powerful board state. But their deck is also just well positioned against us. We don't have anything that's going to be that big or that powerful, except Dreadhorde Invasion if we get it on turn 2, like this game. Don't have any green mana here, but I don't think we can ever really pass up a Dreadhorde Invasion turn 2. Go for it, start getting our zombie army. We've got a Spark Harvest we could use as well. If things somehow go sideways. Toll of the Invasion is a great draw. Immediately turn that into a 2/2. See what they have. Obnoxis' Cruelty, Spark Harvest, Eternal Skylord, and Toll of the Invasion of their own. Kind of wanting to just get rid of their Toll of the Invasion. If they toll us, they get rid of our Spark Harvest. Eternal Skylord's so good too. Opponent's hand is pretty busted. All these cards are fantastic. I mean, I guess Vampire Opportunist is pretty filler, but the rest of their hand is pretty great. I think I am getting rid of the toll. If they want to use removal spells on our zombie army, I think that's fine. They don't have Skylord till turn 5. By then our zombie army is going to be bigger than it, so they'll have to use removal spells on our zombie army. We know they have Obnixlus's Cruelty, but unless they just drew something else, then I don't know why they didn't attack there. If the plan's just to Obnixlus's Cruelty, I think that they would have attacked. So, what is this? What is this extra spell here, maybe? Nothing. Just really wanted to keep the Opportunist, I guess. I guess they did. I guess trading into the... Yeah, no, I'm thinking of it all from my perspective here. Of all I want is for the zombie army to get as big as possible. But we have to think of, like, what is our opponent trying to do when they don't know what's in our hand, and we know that we got rid of their card draw? They're not going to sit here and keep trading for something that I can keep replacing. So they're just never going to offer a trade with it. That's what's going on there. They do make a Rescuer Sphinx a 4/3. I think I should offer a trade with that, actually. It's also a flyer. I guess I could Spark Harvest it and kill it. The next card they play is going to be an Eternal Scholar, just a 3/3 that makes a 2/2. They could double block with that thing. Do I save Spark Harvest or do I just go for the trade here? I think I could just go for the trade here and be fine. Alright, they don't take the trade. I don't think I'm going to kill that here. I'm going to cast a Spark Reaper. See what they play here. I feel like they go land Eternal Skylord. Question is whether or not they attack. Well, they do go for the Cruelty now that it's at 4/4. They want to make sure it does not hit 6 power so we don't get the big lifelink out of it. Alright, keep the Rescuer Sphinx. We are down to 10 now, but we can keep gaining life drawing cards off of the Dreadhorde Invasion. So we can stem the bleeding from that. We need 1 more mana to go Tidebearer Giant. We also still need green for our big stuff. Yeah, we're having some actually pretty bad mana issues now. It didn't really matter that we didn't have green mana immediately, but now that we don't have the 5 or the 6, we're starting to get a little worried. Probably kill that. That's just a bigger flyer than the zombie army is going to be with the Eternal Skylord. It's going to be a 2/2 zombie army flying at us. We can definitely attack with Spark Reaper. Their only attacker is going to be a 2/1 that we can just block and trade with. Just going to pay full on that rather than play another 2/3 out. Got 6 mana now. Here comes Eternal Skylord. Drawn to a Herald of the Dreadhorde. Taking 2 a turn from the sky, 1 a turn from Dreadhorde Invasion. We're not having a great time here mana-wise. Cast Herald, that can start getting aggressively. But our opponent's definitely winning this race right now. Yeah, I mean, that'll make things crystal clear for our opponent. They get rid of the Tithe Bearer Giant, so I can't get a big old creature on the ground and draw a card off that. Down to 6, going down to 5 in our turn. Deliver unto Evil. We've got 3 cards in grave here. Deliver unto Evil to get back a Spark Harvest would be good, but our opponent gets to choose what we get back, so we can't get back a Spark Harvest. We're just going to die to the flyer, unfortunately, and there's not much we can do about that here. I think I attack with Herald of the Dreadhorde. The trades are all fine. Same with the 3/3. Any trades we make are fine. They could try to crack back for lethal, I suppose. All we can do is block 2 things on the ground anyway. I'm going to send in if they just don't block. And then I just cast another Spark Reaper. Oh, I guess they have the mana for Advocist's Flavor Text. Or Opportunist's Flavor Text. 7 mana? If they draw 1 land, we just die no matter what we do. I guess I could sacrifice a creature and go to 6 and maybe not die? No, even if I go to 6, I just die. Because I go to 6, take 3 there, take 2 there, and then take 1 of my upkeep. So... if they draw basic land, I'm dead. Unless I go to 7, unless I get really lucky here, sacrifice the Herald and then draw basic land to play Spark Reaper as well. So I gain a life and play a creature here. I'll just go for it. I haven't hit a land for such a long time. Maybe we'll get one now? Hey. Don't say I never risked anything. They might no escape us here. Oh, they just have another Obnixlus's Cruelty? Alright, well, we were already dead either way. Because we die to them Spark Harvesting one of our creatures, or we die to just any land. We already would have died if I didn't go for that. Because of the Spark Harvest in hand. Well, that was brutal. Our opponent had a pretty exceptional deck, and we had a pretty poor hand by the end of it. It was great to get Dreadhorde Invasion turn 2, but then we just didn't have great follow-ups. Stumbling on the second color and chilling with a 6 mana card in hand most of the game. So 3 wins and 2 losses it is thus far. Still need to grab that 4th win if we want to break even. Otherwise, break even in gyms, not gameplay. I guess if we lose this next round, we have gone average, technically broke even in terms of number of wins and losses, but definitely not breaking even with what we've put into the draft. Definitely going to keep this hand. We've got both of our colors in solid plays starting on turn 3, so a bit slow, but solid plays nonetheless. Opponent starts with a Kron Strangler turn 2. Ooh. We'll start with a Kron Strangler turn 2 as well, but in green-red I have to assume they have many more cards to combo with Kron Strangler than we do. Alright, well, show us the combat trick. Otherwise, I'm very happy with this trade, because their Kron Strangler is likely to be much better than ours later in this game. A Dusk Mantle Operative here. Can't be blocked by creatures with power 4 or greater. Well, a 2/3 does block that pretty exceptionally well. So we're good for now. Opponent is on Jund, green, red, and black, naturally, with all of their basic lands. And a Charity Extractor coming out. 1/5 lifelinker. Pretty annoying card altogether. He's just going to sit here gaining them some life, not really putting any pressure on us. So we're fine seeing that. Vampire Opportunist. Now we start getting a little scared. Just dying the same way. We are stuck on 3 lands here. Kept a 3-land opener, so there's nothing really we can do about that. Opponent still doesn't have any pressure on us. We're doing fine. We have a band together to cast it instant speed as well if they have some random trick to use on us. I think I still don't even want to play a 3rd Spark Reaper, really, because we don't need it on this board, and I like having band together as just a little bit of assurance if they do something crazy. It only does 4 damage here, but it still should be enough to do most of what we need. It's like we are just gonna kind of stare at each other. Now that I have 4 mana, I will drop a Herald. This is a strange game from our deck and our opponent's deck. Just hanging out. It's just spring break over here. Arlen is a very strong card. It's 3 3/3s basically. Unless we have some way to kill that, and we don't. They're just going to get 3 3/3s. We do have Spark Harvests, but we don't have any in hand, so not going to stop Arlen that way. Not going to stop Arlen with any attacks here. We could attack with Mobu. We've got Band together to back it up. They can just block with the 1/5, and then even with Band together, all we do is kill the 1/5, which would stop that from being annoying, but yeah, I don't think I have great attacks. No, I think I just play Tithe the Bearer Giant.
Be brave now, pup.
Yeah, Domri is a very good card. Their whole field gets +1/+0, and they can have one of their creatures fight a creature an opponent controls. Since it is a rare planeswalker, it does have a plus ability, so it can use the fight ability more than once if it can sit there and survive. When you have a really big field like this, it's pretty easy to defend the planeswalkers and make sure they survive that way, especially with cards like Charity Extractor. That definitely explains the Charity Extractor in the deck. If you have a lot of powerful planeswalkers, you can just play big booty dorks like Charity Extractor to defend them. Do I want to Spark Harvest on Domri? Definitely don't want to Spark Harvest Arlen at this point. Arlen's just making more wolves. Domri's giving their whole field +1 power and is going to keep fighting my stuff and killing more of my creatures if it stays out. I think we are going to Spark Harvest Domri here. That was a pretty good draw.
I'll be back after I've licked my wounds. You'll see.
Go, my children. Fight!
Did their deck just jiggle? Or am I seeing things? Kind of looked like it did. Alright, Tithe the Bearer Giant of their own coming out. We're very familiar with that card. This is probably the biggest downside our deck has. We just don't have anything good for these board stall positions like this. This is where having like one Shriek Driver would come in handy, but I guess all it would take is one removal spell and all of a sudden the Shriek Diver did nothing either. I don't know if we saw anything like super powerful for board stalls like this that we could have had in our deck. I guess Vampire Opportunist is pretty good in these situations. I kind of think I want to Bleeding Edge that even. So they can't just sit there and drain life with that. We are able to deliver onto evil now, but I don't actually think it's that great yet. Once we use Band together, and we have like a Spark Harvest and a Band together, it's going to start getting a lot more exciting. Just play all our creatures out. They've got a ton of creatures on this board as well, so if they had some kind of weird wrath effect, I don't think it's going to go super in their favor or anything. The Death Sprout, destroy our 4/5 and grab the land. Definitely going to be another pretty board stally game. Do not feel like we're well positioned for this matchup. Band together to kill Mowu, sure. Start attacking with the 3/3s. Okay. Absolutely trade there. This will be a 4/4 now to block those 3/3s. We're going to take 10, go to 8. Can definitely afford it when I'm holding up another band together and I can gain life off Spark Reapers, potentially. Band together does 6 damage now. 7 cards in grave. We can pick our best stuff. Tithe Bearer, Spark Harvest. They just don't give us those though. I guess I'll just hold up Mobilize District and Band together. I still don't want to deliver Unto Evil until Band together is also in my grave. That'll just up the quality of cards that I'm getting out of it generally, because then they have to avoid giving me that. Because right now our best 2 cards are Tithebearer Giant and Spark Harvest. So they can just avoid giving us those 2, and then we get like a Bleeding Edge and a Spark Reaper or a Mowu, whichever one. They just have another Spark Harvest here. Yeah, we're just pretty dead then. Kind of just out of decently sized blockers now. And I get to kill a 3/3 here. Could kill both 3/3s by activating Mobilize District, just take 1 here. Actually seems solid. Well, at least we're not in a board stall anymore. They've cleared the board pretty well. I'm just dying now. So we're definitely thinking it through here. They picked the 3 attackers, but some second guessing coming on out. Alright, here we go. If they have any combat tricks, we are going to just lose. But we're already in a very losing position. Gotta try to get anything we can. Alright, well. Can be blocked by creatures with power 4 or greater. Can be blocked by a Pollen Bite Druid. Alright, deliver us the evil. Band Together is actually not very good right now. It does 2 damage. But we'll have a Pollen Bite Druid out as well. Definitely Tithe Bearer. Big blocker. Draws us a card as well. Definitely Spark Harvest. Definitely Bleeding Edge. That would kill their 2/2 and give us a creature. I kind of think we still want Band Together, but maybe we even want a Herald here. If their other 3 cards are land, Herald would be better. But having a Band Together is nice to have a little more defensive options. I'm gonna go for the Band Together. They probably give us Band Together and Bleeding Edge? I'm actually not sure. Maybe Band Together, Spark Harvest. But maybe they're cool to give us Tithebearer Giant because we can't afford to cast it this turn. Spark Harvest, Band Together it is. Just kill Charity Extractor here, probably. But we could also get another creature on board before we do that. I'm going to spread out my stuff. If they attack in with Charity Extractor, we can block and kill it with Band Together. If they don't attack with it, we can't kill it. Primordial Worm, well, we can kill that with Spark Harvest. Oh, I should have put the counter on Spark Reaper, because I'm probably wanting to sacrifice Pollen Bright Druid at some point. My thought process there was that if they have a removal spell for Spark Reaper, at least they can't attack in with Duskmantle Operative without trading. But I am pretty likely to have to just sacrifice Pollenbright Druid, gain a life, draw a card, so I think that it's probably better to just have the counter on Spark Reaper. Again, just be all in because we're kind of dead if they have anything regardless. So I probably shouldn't hedge my bets there on spreading my threats out to have better defense against the 2/2. Oh god, Eternal Taskmaster? I kind of think I have to kill that thing or it's going to just bring back their best creature when it attacks. Bring back a Tidebearer Giant. Yeah, draws them the best card in their graveyard. So we band together on that, Spark Harvest Primordial Worm, and we're just top decking now. Hopefully our opponent is as well, but they might still have 2 cards of solid gas in hand. They do get to freely attack with Charity Extractor now, because I'm not going to kill that. I'm going to kill Eternal Taskmaster over that. So they can sit there and gain a life every turn if they want. No attacks, alright. Get rid of that Taskmaster. Vraska's Finisher. It's another creature. It's not nothing. Do I have enough mana to play that in Spark Harvest? I do. I think with the position we're in, I actually do have to just cast that. Just have more creatures out. We're not going to be attacking in anytime soon. We're at 7 life. Suppose it could potentially kill Charity Extractor if we try to attack in. And they double block Charity Extractor and Duskmantle Operative or something. Alright, land is not what I'm looking for. They have a 4/5. I don't have good blocks for that. I have to double block and lose 2 creatures to kill that. No attacks past turn. That might have been another position where I had to just really hope that they misplay. Because they're in such a solid position, they can just be like, alright, whatever, I'll take 2. I've got a Charity Extractor out, and then Vraska's Finisher doesn't do anything for us anyway. But yeah, maybe the only way we win is if Vraska's Finisher somehow killed the Ceratok. They don't attack. I can't afford to sacrifice something here. Well, if they keep not attacking, which I doubt, but if they keep not attacking, we can start just drawing a card every turn off the Dreadhorde Invasion. They have such big creatures and such a wide field here, they can just slap that all attack button, I think. I really don't want them to, though. Holding back Duskmantle Operative just because they don't want my 2/3 to kill it, I guess. Oh boy. Yeah, we're at 7 life. We can kill Thundering Ceratok. Stop 1 damage. Take 4, go to 3. I sacrifice whatever I get from Dreadhorde Invasion immediately. If I'm at 3 life, I can block there, block my 1/1 onto there, gain 1, be at 1 life. I guess I can hold on to my 1/1 amass creature till it blocks. Block, wait, block, take 4. Oh wait, no I can't. If I just hit another land here, I'm dead. Only dead if they all attack. Maybe they're still going to hold on to the operative. Actually, no, I am dead even if they don't all attack. I'm forgetting about the life payment of the Dreadhorde Invasion there when I was doing the math. We're at 3, we kill Mowu. It just died a Dreadhorde Invasion. Block there, take 2, go to 1. Yeah, this was just a game that the cards we drew versus the cards they drew, we were just unlikely to win unless they severely misplayed, and I didn't give myself the opportunity to... Also, I love how it just skipped through my turn. Can Spark Reaper sacrifice itself? If it can sacrifice itself, I could have saved myself. It can, but it skipped through that and just killed me. It didn't even give me the opportunity to sacrifice Spark Reaper to itself. That's rough. I really want to see what my next draw would have been then, because it's actually possible I could still survive if I just immediately drew another Spark Reaper off of that Spark Reaper. Because then I just block both, do that again. And I'm drawing 2 cards a turn that way. Yeah, that was rough. Why do I have to put the stop on my own upkeep to do things like that? I hate how Magic Arena is just like, oh, you just die. You don't actually get to stop there when you could survive. Anyways, as I was saying before, that game was just... They just had some real solid value planeswalkers. Arlen getting 3/3/3s forced me to spend multiple cards into killing the 3/3s, and then obviously Domri came and killed one of our cards and forced us to spend another card to kill Domri, so our opponent was just very much up in the card advantage several times off of powerful cards like those planeswalkers, constantly forcing us to 2 or even 3 for 1 ourselves at times. We probably 3 for 1'd ourselves into Arlen. I don't remember for sure how we dealt with all of the wolves. Pretty brutal stuff altogether. As I was saying before, just the cards they drew versus the cards we drew. The only chance we would have had to win is if we really pushed in, tried to just give any position for them to misplay. So I probably should have held on to Finisher and pushed in and seen if maybe we could get them to misplay with the Charity Extractors. That would have been a big turning point if we could have actually Vraska's Finishered one of their creatures, their Charity Extractor. But as I said before, it's not even particularly likely. They were at 20 life with multiple lifelinkers on the board. If they just played correctly there, they just don't block and then immediately kill us the next turn because we've tapped out of some of our attackers. So, rough stuff altogether, but 3-3, not the end of the world. That keeps our War of the Spark record pretty high. We've gone 7-2, and then we went 4-3, 7-1, 3-3. So still no negative record with War of the Spark. Still pretty positive. Doing pretty well in this format. But that will end today's draft. I hope you all enjoyed the video. If you did, make sure to like, comment, subscribe so YouTube recommends the video to yourself and others. And as always, if you want to see more of this, stick around. And I will see you again for more Magic Arena content very soon.